21st century civilization. Civilization at a crossroads. A system of technology, collapse, and renewal. Introduction. A civilization without principles. Contemporary civilization has reached a stage at which its technological capabilities have outpaced its ethical maturity and systemic responsibility. We possess tools capable of altering the climate, restructuring economies, redefining labor markets, and shaping human cognition itself. Yet we continue to use them within outdated political and economic frameworks. The dominant model, profit maximization without long-term responsibility, leads to ecosystem destabilization, growing social inequalities, and the weakening of national sovereignty. Without principles, there is no lasting civilization. Without systemic reform, technological acceleration will amplify chaos rather than progress. Diagnosis of systemic threats. The 7 deadly sins of a money-driven civilization. The common denominator of today's crises is the imbalance between technological power and the maturity of governance systems. 1. Technological hubris, the belief in total control over climate. The development of geoengineering, cloud brightening, precipitation modification, interference with atmospheric and oceanic circulation is often pursued without full understanding of global consequences. The climate system is interconnected. A local intervention can trigger a global reaction. Artificial redistribution of atmospheric energy may shift monsoons, disrupt ocean currents, alter precipitation patterns, and generate climate conflicts. Progress without humility before complex natural systems becomes a risk rather than a solution. 2. Cognitive arrogance, acting without adequate knowledge or rules. Since the mid-20th century, weather modification technologies have been developed, frequently without long-term environmental analysis or global regulation. The pattern remains unchanged. Technical capability advances faster than responsibility. The absence of international rules, transparency, and interdisciplinary oversight threatens public trust and may escalate tensions between nations. 3. The illusion of the unlimited market, profit above stability. An economic model focused on short-term profit maximization marginalizes ecological and social responsibility. Money becomes a supreme value detached from real environmental costs. The result is ecosystem degradation, social stratification, corporate power concentration, and economic dependencies that weaken states. 4. Unreflective technological acceleration (AI) without systemic reform. Artificial intelligence represents a breakthrough comparable to the mastery of fire. It may increase productivity and innovation, yet when introduced into outdated tax, educational, and social systems, it risks destabilization. Without reform of redistribution mechanisms, education systems preparing societies for cooperation with AI, social safety structures (AI) may deepen inequality and generate social unrest. 5. Energy short-sightedness, lack of a coherent strategy. Fossil fuels enabled industrial development but contributed to climate destabilization. Renewable energy requires massive infrastructure and storage solutions. Nuclear energy limits emissions but carries long-term challenges. The problem is not technological absence but the lack of a coherent, science-based, long-term global strategy beyond political cycles. 6. A civilization of waste, irresponsibility for residue. Production that fails to account fully for environmental costs leads to soil, water, and air degradation. Recycling technologies exist, yet implementation often remains subordinated to short-term financial logic. A civilization unable to manage its own waste cannot claim sustainability. 7. Absence of systemic principles, governance without long-term vision. Short-term political and corporate interests dominate over scientific knowledge and intergenerational responsibility. In the era of systemic technologies, the lack of stable institutional foundations increases the risk of escalating conflicts and global instability. Cognitive and moral degradation, technology replacing thought. The most serious threat concerns not only climate or economy, but human condition itself. Increasingly, cognitive processes are delegated to algorithms. Memory replaced by search engines, analysis by ready-made answers, creativity by content generators, reflection by instant online opinion. Access to information is not equivalent to knowledge. Knowledge requires selection, critical thinking, synthesis, and time. A civilization of shortcuts promotes speed over depth, creating an illusion of competence. Technology strengthens mechanisms of instant gratification. Comfort displaces effort, and operational efficiency in using tools begins to replace reflective thinking and creativity. If future generations fail to train memory, concentration, and independent reasoning, cognitive and moral potential may decline despite increasingly powerful tools. Civilization may collapse not because it created advanced technology, but because it stopped developing individuals capable of using it responsibly. Program of repair and development. A coherent development program, identification of systemic threats and directions for their elimination, Pro-Europa and TWC, Trust World Center. Systemic threats require systemic responses. It is time for structural evolution, not disintegration. 1. Ocean cleanup and waste-to-energy systems. Integrated waste removal systems supported by autonomous technologies, combined with conversion of recovered materials into energy within a circular economy. 2. Desert greening, desert gardens. Soil regeneration, water retention systems, and microclimate creation to enhance CO2 absorption and food security. 3. European anti-drought system. Comprehensive water management, expanded retention systems, and restoration of soil moisture balance. 4. Reform of social and educational systems, RAIS model. Preparing societies to cooperate with AI, strengthening cognitive competencies, and reducing forced migration through structural regional development. 5. Knowledge-based governance. Strategic decisions must rely on interdisciplinary modeling of long-term consequences. Short-term financial logic is insufficient in the age of systemic technologies. 6. Evolution instead of collapse. Necessary steps include redefining economic principles, restructuring education, reforming taxation and redistribution systems, establishing global regulations for breakthrough technologies, enforcing genuine corporate accountability. Civilizations collapse when they fail to adapt. They endure when they redefine their principles. Conclusion. All described threats share one fundamental element: the imbalance between technological capability and the maturity of governance systems and human development. If principles are not redefined, technological acceleration will become a force of destruction. If they are reformed, it may become the foundation of a new, stable phase of development. Technology is neither salvation nor threat in itself. It is an amplifier, strengthening both wisdom and short-sightedness. The need for change does not arise from ideology. It arises from the logic of survival.